The social services could now act, and when they received a tip-off that the mother and child were visiting grandparents for Christmas, they ordered police into action. The judge was very critical of the entire procedure. December 23rd, 4 policemen in uniform and in a marked car came for the child.
I was terrified, absolutely terrified, and they came into the house and said that they were taking my child under the care of the local authority.
It would seem a very, very heavy-handed approach if police cars and perhaps sirens and uniformed police are seen spilling out onto the pavement into a house.
The judge also criticised the fact that there was no social worker with the police.
Somebody should be there to look after the child's pastoral needs.
Most damningly, the judge said the police should have been informed of the child's severe medical and behavioural needs. The child was taken to a police station because a foster place hadn't been arranged.
Social worker X was on the telephone and had said that she wanted my child to go into foster care, but the duty social worker told me that there was no foster care placement had been arranged.
The mother, child and grandparents were at the police station for 6 hours.
I think it's absolutely astonishing that no sort of after plan, if you like, was prepared for the child to be looked after once the child was recovered.
I was completely out of my mind. It was like a movie. It was like a Hollywood film. It was just not real to me at all.
December the 28th. The family had been allowed to go home, and 5 days later there was a meeting with social services. They said the child should be left in the grandparents' care, but the mother would have to leave. She would only be allowed to visit on Mondays and Tuesdays, but not overnight.
It's very, very difficult daily to deal with.
November 2006, social services applied for another care order. It would define how the child would be brought up until adulthood, but it included less contact for the mother. It was at this point that she applied for publicity. Then the case was transferred to Justice Headley in the High Court. In his judgment of the police raid, he praised individual officers but was damning of the procedure they'd been required to follow. He said,
"The police officers followed what seems to me a most extraordinary procedure. I hope this part of the judgment will be disclosed to the Chief Constable, who might review procedures."
We sent the judgment to the Chief Constable. The Chief Constable said, "We are fully considering the issues raised by the judge, and should any learning emerge, this will be used to influence both local and national policy and guidance." Justice Headley gave his judgment on the case in London. Justice Headley said the child should remain with its grandparents because the mother had not cooperated with the authorities and her care had been compulsive and unpredictable. But he also made substantial changes to the social services care plan. The mother would be allowed more access and overnight stays. And he said that she was the only one who would care for the child long term. When Justice Headley granted the mother's application to allow reporting, it seemed it was part of a wider opening of family courts.
I think it must be part of the judiciary very much trying to move towards more access. The problem is that there is a claim that the judges want everything to carry on in secret and that therefore, they're hiding what's going on. Now, that's not the case at all. The judiciary themselves are very anxious that public confidence should be restored in family courts.
Then a bombshell. Lord Faulkner, who resigned from the government last week, announced a U-turn. There would be no further access for reporters to family courts. He said it could jeopardise children's rights to privacy and anonymity. This could be the first and last case that can be reported.
The judges are protecting families, rightly so, protecting the children. But what about the people who bring these cases to court, who may be doing them for what they see are best reasons, the best interests of the child, but the public needs to see what's going on, not to interfere with the lives of the families involved, but in order to see that justice and the role of experts is properly monitored.
I think the family courts should definitely be opened up. There's no independent scrutiny of the process that's going on. experts are making mistakes, professionals are making mistakes, and that's, you know, a given in any profession. People aren't perfect.
Last month, the child was removed from the Child Protection Register. The local authority declined to be interviewed. Social services will respond to the judge's orders next month. We will be applying for the court's permission to identify the professionals involved.